Don't worry, I haven't gone over to the dark side. I still believe that dogs and cats are pests. Both are global nuisances causing great harm in every continent except Antarctica, and that's only because they are not allowed there. Dogs and cats disgust me. I am frightened by large dogs and their potential to harm me and my loved ones. The impact that both have on indigenous wildlife is shocking and unnecessary. I don't need to say much more because you only need to sample some of my previous videos to understand my stance regarding dogs and cats. My stance hasn't changed, but I have been doing a lot of thinking about campaigns based on hate. The dog and cat problem was created by humans, and the solution to the problem is in the hands of humans. From now on, I will just talk about dogs on the understanding that the principles I'm talking about apply to both dogs and cats. A campaign based on dog hatred is, at best, going to be ineffective, or at worst, counterproductive. Hating dogs attacks a feature of human behavior rather than the behavior itself. The dog is a display of the antisocial behavior of the owner. We should be doing something about the antisocial behavior rather than just hating the dog, which is a consequence of the antisocial or entitled behavior. If someone is a dangerous driver, we never hate the car. If you attack dogs, people will defend dogs. On the other hand, if you question human behavior, people will start to debate the appropriateness of that behavior. Some of the dog hate material I've come across advocates ordinary citizens killing dogs when they get the chance, somehow believing that dog owners in particular and society in general will stand back and let this happen without protest. This brings me to another problem with hate campaigns, and that is the target population will organize and resist. Obviously, dogs cannot do this, but dog owners will, and they do. Not only do dog haters aim at the wrong target, they use ammunition that is too easily resisted or countered. For example, dog haters focus disproportionately on the ferocity of dogs and the physical danger that they present. Like a master swordsman deflecting arrows in a computer game, the dog worshippers easily deflect that one back, neutralizing its power. They hit back with statistics, illustrating how little a risk dogs pose in the grand scheme of things. They tell us that the dogs most likely to bite are small breeds that can't do much harm. They tell us that their dog is gentle, therefore all dogs are gentle. They tell us that it's the owner, not the dog. They claim that there's no such thing as a bad dog. Persuading these people that dogs are dangerous is a pointless mission. We need to persuade society that these people are wrong and that their views should not be tolerated. Spewing hate on their dogs is not going to do that. It is not going to change society's views. It is more likely to strengthen them, as dog worshippers will easily present themselves as a beleaguered community facing irrational prejudice and threat. I know that I have highlighted dog ferocity and danger in the past, but I've tried to illustrate the apathy of the humans rather than the ferocity of the dog. It is the fact that nothing is done that is the scandal and needs to change. We are not going to change the ferocity of the dog. See, Bridger Walker is a hero, but where's the outrage? And dogs and disfigurements, why do we tolerate this? Describing yourself as a dog hater is accepting the insulting language that dog worshippers use against us. If you are a dog hater, you are accepting a label created by the group you claim to hate. That's also why I describe this video as an opinion piece. I used to use the word rant, and then I came to the realization that I was accepting insulting language created by dog worshippers. You notice that none of them use the insults that we created. They argue vehemently that they are not dog worshippers or dog nutters. I have changed the title and the direction of my channel twice to more accurately reflect my developing views regarding the dog and cat menace. I started as canine aversion, as that title alone pointed me in a direction of dog hatred, a direction that became increasingly uncomfortable for me. My present title is now more aligned with the views that I want to project. Throughout history, there have been many campaigns fueled by hatred, usually aimed at killing, incarcerating, or exiling the target group. Hate campaigns are more likely to be successful if they are supported by a repressive regime willing to use extreme coercive force. A lot of that coercive force comes in the form of savage dogs. More commonly, hate campaigns meet with resistance and better organized and more effective counter campaigns. One group in society that has been subject to hate campaigns in the past and still is the LGBTQ community. Until 1962, all 50 states of the USA criminalized same-sex sexual activity, but by 2003, all remaining laws against same-sex sexual activity had been invalidated. In Canada, homosexuality was a criminal act until 1969, at which time it was legal for two people over the age of 21 in private. If 3 or more participated, it remained illegal at that time. In a landmark case in 1995, sexual orientation became constitutionally protected under the Equality Clause of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. In 2005, Canada was the 4th country in the world and the first in the Americas to implement same-sex marriage nationwide. In the UK, sexual activity between men was decriminalized in 1967, subject to the same limitations as the 1969 Canada Act. Sexual activity between women has never been a crime in the UK, but it has been subject to prejudice, discrimination, and hatred. The age of consent for homosexual men was lowered to 18 in 1994 and to 16 in 2001. The LGBTQ community in these countries has been subject to all sorts of hate groups and hate campaigns, but their history has demonstrated the ineffectiveness of such campaigns. The history of the LGBTQ community in many countries has shown a resistance to hatred and a steady and gradual improvement in personal and legal rights. There's a mainstream primetime family-oriented light entertainment TV show called Strictly Come Dancing in the UK, where it originated, and Dancing with the Stars in over 60 countries to which it was exported. A number of countries have featured same-sex dancers in their shows. The UK, USA, Israel, Denmark, Italy, Australia, and Ireland have all featured same-sex couples who have received a warm reception from the viewing public. The LGBTQ community have faced hatred and campaigns from hate groups, yet in the space of 30 years or so, they have moved from being a marginalized and hated group to being part of primetime family entertainment. It is important that you realize I am not comparing LGBTQ activists with dog worshippers. I am using this example to illustrate the futility of hate groups or hate campaigns. People are not going to roll over and give up because you hate them. They are more likely to consolidate their views and react in an organized way. I am increasingly of the opinion that any effective long-term response to the dog and cat plagues will come from animal welfare activities. Many countries are increasingly introducing legislation to protect animals from cruelty and exploitation. There are moves to recognize that all animals are sentient and that anyone dealing with animals has to take into account that animals have emotions and are aware of their surroundings. If this idea develops, then the keeping of dogs in a human house will have to come into question as being inappropriate and cruel to that animal. Dog worshippers are already twisting and manipulating the concept of sentience for their own benefits, but that will not be tolerated for long. I recently saw a YouTube video in which a dog owner was getting irate and angry because someone called his dog it. He argued that no dog is an it because they are sentient beings with feelings and awareness. He seemed to be suggesting that a dog's feelings could be hurt by being called it rather than he or she. Of course, he was making the fatal mistake of believing that dog sentience is the same as human sentience. A dog has dog feelings. A dog has dog awareness. And a dog has a dog-level appreciation of the concept of sex and gender. We need to stop hating dogs and start dealing with the dog problem effectively. We need to stop hating dogs and start dealing with the human behavior that makes us feel that we want to hate dogs. We need to stop hating dogs and start dealing with them the way we would deal with any animal pest. We need to stop hating dogs and place responsibility squarely on the shoulders of the dreadful humans who use their dogs to make our lives a misery. We need to stop hating and start making our future pet-free.